Okay, so I need to tell you about what happened at my niece Emma's birthday party last weekend because honestly, I'm still processing it. Like, I haven't been able to think about anything else since Saturday night. So here's the thing, right? Emma just turned 7, and my brother Jake and his wife Melissa, they went all out this year. I'm talking like full princess theme, bounce house in the backyard, face painting, the whole 9 yards. They rented this huge inflatable castle thing, and there were probably 30 kids running around, screaming their heads off. It was chaos, but like the good kind of chaos, you know? I got there around 2 in the afternoon, and the party was already in full swing. Kids everywhere, parents standing around with those paper plates loaded with pizza, trying to make small talk while keeping one eye on their kids so nobody breaks an arm or whatever. And I'm walking through the gate with this giant unicorn stuffed animal I'd bought for Emma. Because I'm that aunt, the one who always goes a little overboard with the gifts. And immediately, I see Emma running toward me. Now, Emma's always been this bundle of energy, right? Like, the kid doesn't walk anywhere, she bounces. She's got these big brown eyes and this wild curly hair that Melissa's always trying to tame into ponytails. But it never really works. And she's a happy kid, you know? Always smiling, always laughing about something. But when she ran up to me that day, something felt different. I can't even explain it properly. She was smiling, yeah, but it was like, I don't know, like when you're trying really hard to look happy, but there's something else going on underneath. You know what I mean? She grabbed the unicorn from me and hugged it tight. And she's like, Auntie Sarah, you came. And I'm like, of course I came, birthday girl. Wouldn't miss it for the world. And she's just squeezing that unicorn and looking up at me with those big eyes. I ruffled her hair and asked her if she was having the best birthday ever. And she nodded real fast. But I don't know. There was something I couldn't quite put my finger on. But then, one of her friends called her name. Something about the bounce house. And she ran off, and I figured I was just being paranoid or whatever. So I walked over to where all the adults were hanging out, grabbed a drink from the cooler, and started chatting with Melissa. She looked exhausted, honestly. Like happy, but exhausted. You know that look parents get when they've been planning something for weeks and it's finally happening and they're just trying to hold it together until bedtime? She was telling me about how they'd been up since 6 that morning, setting everything up, and how Jake had almost had a meltdown because the bakery messed up the cake order initially. They'd ordered this elaborate princess castle cake, and apparently the bakery had written Emily instead of Emma on it. So Jake had to drive back and get them to fix it while Melissa was home blowing up balloons. Where is Jake anyway? I asked, looking around, and Melissa pointed toward the house. He's inside, dealing with the sound system. The Bluetooth keeps cutting out, and he's losing his mind over it. I laughed because that's so typical Jake. He's always been kind of a perfectionist about stuff like that. Like everything has to work exactly right, or he gets all stressed out about it. The party went on like that for a while. Kids playing games, everyone singing happy birthday. Emma blowing out her candles and making a wish with her eyes squeezed shut real tight. We did presents, and Emma opened like a million gifts, losing her mind over each one. The unicorn I brought her was a big hit, which made me feel pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. But throughout all of it, I kept noticing these little moments. Like Emma would be laughing and playing, and then she'd suddenly stop and look over at Jake with this expression I couldn't read. Or she'd be sitting with Melissa, and she'd get real quiet for a second before snapping back into party mode. And Jake, I noticed he was on his phone a lot. Like, more than usual. He'd be smiling and playing with the kids, and then he'd step away and check his phone. And his whole face would change. Just for a second. Then he'd put it away and plaster that smile back on. I caught Melissa watching him do this at one point, and the look on her face. God, it made my stomach drop. It was like this mixture of sadness and resignation and anger all rolled into one. But then she noticed me noticing, and she just smiled and asked if I wanted more lemonade. The party started winding down around 5. Parents were collecting their kids. Everyone was thanking Jake and Melissa, telling Emma happy birthday one more time. The yard was a disaster. Cups and plates everywhere. The bounce house slowly deflating in the corner. I started helping clean up because that's what you do, right? Emma was sitting on the back porch steps, still holding that unicorn, watching everyone leave. She looked tired. Happy, but tired. I walked over and sat down next to her. "So, best birthday ever?" I asked, bumping her shoulder with mine. She nodded and leaned against me. "Yeah, thanks for the unicorn, Auntie Sarah. I'm gonna name her Sparkles." "Sparkles is a perfect name," I said. We sat there for a minute, just watching Jake try to figure out how to deflate the bounce house while Melissa stuffed trash into garbage bags. It was one of those peaceful moments, you know? The party chaos was over. The sun was starting to set, and everything just felt calm. And that's when it happened. Emma leaned in real close to me, and in this tiny little whisper, like so quiet I almost didn't hear her, she said, "Auntie, Dad is leaving us tonight." I swear to God, my whole body just froze. Like everything stopped. The sounds of the yard faded out, and all I could hear was my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. I looked down at her, and she was just staring straight ahead, hugging Sparkles the unicorn, her face completely neutral. Like she'd just told me the sky was blue or something equally casual. "What?" I managed to say, but my voice came out weird and strangled. Emma didn't look at me. She just kept staring out at the yard. "Dad's leaving tonight. I heard him and Mom fighting about it this morning when they thought I was still asleep." My mind was racing, like a million thoughts all at once. What did she mean leaving? Like leaving for a trip? Leaving? Was Jake having an affair? Were they getting divorced? How does a 7-year-old even process something like that? What was I supposed to say? "Emma, sweetie," I started, but I had no idea how to finish that sentence. "It's okay," she said, and she finally looked up at me with those big brown eyes. "Mom said everything's gonna be okay, but I just wanted to tell someone. Because it's my birthday, and it's supposed to be happy, and I'm trying real hard to be happy. But it's kind of hard when you know something sad is coming later." And right then, right in that moment, this 7-year-old kid was being braver and more mature than I'd ever been in my entire life. She was holding it together at her own birthday party, smiling and laughing and playing, knowing that in a few hours her whole world was gonna change. I pulled her close and hugged her tight, and I could feel her little body just relax against me. Like she'd been holding herself so stiff all day, and finally, she could let go for a second. "I love you, Emma," I whispered. "No matter what happens, I love you so much. And I'm always gonna be here, okay? Always. She nodded against my shoulder. I know, Auntie Sarah. Emma, come help me. Emma pulled away from me, wiped her eyes real quick, even though she wasn't crying, and gave me this small smile. Then she hopped up and ran over to her mom, Sparkles, the unicorn, tucked under her arm. And I just sat there on those porch steps, completely stunned, trying to figure out what the hell I was supposed to do with this information. So here's the thing, right? Like, what are you supposed to do when a 7-year-old drops a bomb like that on you? Do I go talk to Jake? Do I pull Melissa aside? Do I pretend Emma didn't say anything? I mean, she's a kid. Maybe she misunderstood what she heard. Maybe it's not as bad as it sounds. But even as I was thinking that, I knew I was lying to myself. Because I'd seen the way Jake had been acting all day. I'd seen the look on Melissa's face. And kids don't make up stuff like that. Not out of nowhere. I got up and started helping with the cleanup. But I was moving on autopilot, you know? Just grabbing plates and cups, stuffing them in trash bags, not really thinking about what I was doing. My brain was somewhere else entirely. Jake came over at one point and clapped me on the shoulder. Thanks for coming, Sarah, and thanks for that unicorn. You totally spoiled her. He was smiling, but it didn't reach his eyes. And now that I knew, or thought I knew, what was happening, I could see the strain in his face, the tension in his jaw. The way his smile was just a little too forced. Yeah, well, she's my favorite niece, I said, trying to keep my voice normal. She's your only niece, Jake laughed. That's why she's my favorite, I shot back. And he laughed again, but it was hollow, empty. He started to walk away, and before I could stop myself, I said, Hey, Jake, everything okay? He stopped, turned back around, and for just a second, I saw it. The mask slicked, and I saw this look of pure exhaustion and sadness wash over his face. But then it was gone, replaced by that fake smile again. Yeah, of course, just tired. You know how these parties are. Right, yeah. I nodded, and he walked away. Melissa was in the kitchen when I went inside, loading the dishwasher. I grabbed some dirty glasses from the counter and handed them to her, and we worked in silence for a minute. The house felt weird, you know? Like too quiet after all that party chaos. You could still hear a few kids playing outside, but mostly it was just the sound of dishes clinking and water running. Melissa, I started, not really knowing what I was going to say. If you need anything, or if you want to talk or whatever, I'm here. You know that, right? She stopped loading the dishwasher and looked at me. And I could see her trying to decide something. Like, should she pretend everything's fine? Should she break down? Should she tell me what's going on? In the end, she just gave me this tight smile and said, I know, Sarah. Thank you. That was it. She went back to loading the dishwasher. And I knew I wasn't going to get anything else out of her. Not right then, anyway. I stayed for another hour or so, helping finish the cleanup. The last few parents picked up their kids, and eventually it was just me, Jake, Melissa, and Emma. The sun had set by then, and the backyard looked weird in the fading light. All those party decorations, the deflated bounce house, the streamers hanging limply from the fence. Emma was sitting in the living room, watching TV with Sparkles in her lap. I went over and gave her a big hug, told her happy birthday one more time. You gonna be okay? I whispered, quiet enough that Jake and Melissa couldn't hear from the kitchen. She nodded. I think so. I'll call you tomorrow, okay? We can talk about anything you want. Okay, Auntie Sarah. She hugged me tighter. Love you. Love you too, sweetie. So much. I said goodbye to Jake and Melissa, and Jake walked me out to my car. We stood there in the driveway for a second, and I was trying to think of something to say. Something that wouldn't make things worse, but would let him know that I was there if he needed me. But before I could figure it out, he said, "Sarah, and then he stopped, looked down at the ground, shoved his hands in his pockets. I'm sorry for everything that's about to happen. I know it's going to be hard on everyone." My stomach dropped. So it was true. Whatever Emma had heard, it was real. "Jake, what's going on?" I asked quietly. He shook his head. "I can't. Not right now. But you'll find out soon enough. Just, please, be there for Emma and for Melissa. They're gonna need you." "What about you?" I asked. "Are you gonna be okay?" He laughed, but it was the saddest sound I'd ever heard. "Honestly, I don't know." And then he just turned and walked back into the house, leaving me standing there in the driveway like an idiot, not knowing what the hell just happened. I sat in my car for a solid 10 minutes before I could even turn the key. My hands were shaking. I kept thinking about Emma's face, about how she'd been holding it together all day, about Jake's sad laugh, about Melissa's tight smile in the kitchen. I drove home in a daze, and when I got to my apartment, I just collapsed on the couch. I thought about calling my mom. Jake's our older brother, so she'd want to know if something was wrong. But I didn't know what to tell her. I didn't actually know anything concrete, just a 7-year-old's whisper and a lot of gut feelings. So instead, I just sat there, staring at my phone, waiting for, I don't know, a call? A text? Some kind of update? It came around 10:30 that night. It was a text from Melissa. Just 4 words. "Jake moved out tonight." I stared at that message for what felt like forever. Moved out. Just like that. On Emma's birthday. After the party. After the cake and the presents and the bounce house and the happy birthday song. My fingers were flying before I could think about it. "Are you okay? Is Emma okay? What happened?" The 3 little dots appeared, showing she was typing. Then they disappeared. Then they came back. This went on for like 2 minutes. Finally, her response came through. "Can you come over tomorrow? I need to talk to someone, and Emma keeps asking for you." "Of course," I typed back immediately. "What time? Morning? 10? I'll be there." And that was it. I didn't sleep at all that night. I just lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, running through every interaction I had with Jake and Melissa over the past few months, trying to figure out if there'd been signs I'd missed, trying to understand how I hadn't seen this coming. I mean, sure, they'd seemed a little stressed lately, but who isn't stressed? They had a kid, they both worked full-time, they had a mortgage and bills and all the normal life stuff. I never imagined they were having problems. Real problems. The kind that end in someone moving out on their daughter's birthday. The next morning, I showed up at their house. Well, Melissa's house now, I guess. At exactly 10. My stomach was in knots. I didn't know what I was walking into. Didn't know what I was supposed to say or do. Melissa answered the door. and she looked like she hadn't slept either. Her hair was pulled back in a messy ponytail. She was wearing sweatpants and one of Jake's old college t-shirts, and her eyes were red and puffy. "Hey," she said quietly, and then she just fell apart, right there in the doorway. Started crying these. I pulled her into a hug and held her while she cried, and we just stood there like that for I don't even know how long. Eventually, she pulled away and wiped her eyes. "Sorry, I've been trying to hold it together for Emma, and I can't anymore." "Don't apologize," I said. "Where is Emma?" "Upstairs, playing in her room. She's been really quiet this morning. She knows her dad's stuff is gone." We went inside, and the house felt different, wrong. I could see the empty spaces where Jake's things used to be. The coat rack where his jacket always hung, empty. The shelf where he kept his books, gaps in the lineup. Little holes everywhere, like someone had taken an eraser to parts of the house. We sat down in the kitchen, and Melissa made coffee with shaking hands. I waited for her to talk, to tell me what happened. I wasn't gonna push. Finally, she started talking. "It's been coming for a while," she said, staring into her coffee cup. "Months, actually. Maybe longer. I don't even know anymore. We've been fighting constantly. About everything. Money, parenting, his job, my job, whose turn it is to do the dishes. Stupid stuff, you know? But also not stupid, because it wasn't really about the dishes." I nodded, not saying anything, just listening. "About 6 months ago, I found out he'd been talking to someone. A woman from his office. Nothing physical happened, or at least that's what he swears. And I actually believe him on that. But they'd been texting constantly, staying late at work together, going for coffee. And the texts, God, Sarah, the texts were flirty, affectionate, the kind of stuff you write to someone you're interested in, not a coworker." She paused, taking a sip of coffee. Her hands were still shaking. I confronted him about it, and he didn't even deny it. He just said he was sorry, that nothing physical happened, that he'd end it, and he did. He stopped talking to her, requested a transfer to a different department. He was really trying, you know? But something broke between us. I couldn't trust him anymore, and he resented me for not being able to just forgive and move on. "That's a lot, Melissa," I said quietly. "The worst part is, I think we both wanted different things, and we were just too scared to admit it. He wanted me to be this person I'm not anymore. More spontaneous, more fun, more like we were when we first met. And I needed him to be more present, more responsible, more of a partner, instead of just another person I have to take care of. We were pulling in opposite directions, and neither of us would budge." She started crying again, but softer this time, just tears rolling down her face while she talked. "We've been trying counseling for months, but it wasn't helping. Every session just became another fight. And then, last week, he came home and said he thought we should separate. That maybe if he moved out for a while, we could figure things out, or figure out that we can't figure things out. I don't know. It's all so messed up." "Why yesterday?" I asked. "Why Emma's birthday?" Melissa's face crumpled. "That's the thing. We'd agreed he'd move out next weekend, after Emma's birthday. We didn't want to ruin it for her. But then, yesterday morning, we got into this huge fight about the party. Something stupid. I wanted him to pick up the cake at 9. He wanted to go to the gym first. and it just escalated into this massive blowout. He said he couldn't take it anymore, that he was suffocating, that he needed to leave now. And Emma heard, I said. Melissa looked at me sharply. How did you know? She told me, at the party. She whispered to me that her dad was leaving. Oh God. Melissa put her head in her hands. She told me this morning that she knew. I thought maybe she'd figured it out when she saw his stuff was gone. But she knew the whole time. She spent her entire birthday knowing her dad was leaving that night. We sat there in silence for a minute, both of us thinking about Emma upstairs, playing alone in her room, probably holding on to Sparkles the unicorn like it was the only stable thing in her world. What's gonna happen now? I asked. I don't know. He's staying at his friend Marcus's place for now. He wants to see Emma regularly. We're gonna have to figure out custody and all that legal stuff. I need to find a lawyer, I guess. Figure out how to pay all the bills on my own. Tell Emma's school what's happening. Tell our families. She looked at me. God, Sarah, what am I gonna tell you? Don't worry about my mom right now, I said. Worry about you and Emma. Everything else can wait. Can you go up and talk to her? Melissa asked. She's been asking for you. I don't know what to say to her. Every time I try to talk about it, I just start crying, and that makes her more upset. Maybe you can. Yeah, of course, I said, standing up. I climbed the stairs slowly, trying to figure out what I was gonna say to a 7-year-old whose world just fell apart. When I got to Emma's door, it was half open. I could see her sitting on her bed, surrounded by stuffed animals, with Sparkles front and center. She was talking to them in a quiet voice, like they were having a tea party or something. I knocked softly. Hey, birthday girl, can I come in? Emma looked up and nodded. I sat down on the edge of her bed, and she immediately crawled into my lap. Sparkles clutched tight. You were right, she said. He left. I know, sweetie. Your mom told me. Did I do something wrong? She asked, and her voice was so small, it broke my heart into a million pieces. Oh, Emma, no, absolutely not. None of this is your fault. Not even a tiny bit. Then why did he leave? How do you explain adult relationships to a kid? How do you tell them that sometimes people fall out of love, or that parents can care about their kids but still need to be apart from each other? That life is complicated and messy, and sometimes there are no good answers? Your mom and dad both love you so much, I said carefully. That hasn't changed, and it never will. But sometimes grown-ups have problems that are hard to fix. And sometimes, even when they try really hard, they realize that living in the same house makes those problems worse, not better. So they decide to live apart for a while. But that doesn't change how much they love you. Is it forever? She asked. I don't know, honey. Your mom and dad don't know either right now. But what I do know is that you're gonna be okay. It's gonna feel weird and sad for a while, and that's okay. You're allowed to be sad or angry or confused or all of those things at once, but you're gonna be okay. She was quiet for a long time, just sitting in my lap, hugging Sparkles. Finally, she said, I wish for them to stop fighting. When I blew out my candles, that was my wish. And right then, I had to work really hard not to cry myself. Because this little girl, on her 7th birthday, didn't wish for toys or a puppy or a trip to Disneyland. She wished for her parents to stop fighting. That's a really good wish, I said, my voice cracking a little. And you know what? Maybe it'll come true in a different way than you expected. Maybe now that they're not living together, they won't fight as much, and things will be calmer and better for everyone. Maybe, Emma said, but she didn't sound convinced. We sat there for a while longer, not really talking, just being together. Eventually, Melissa came upstairs, and the three of us ended up on Emma's bed, just sort of existing in that moment together. It wasn't okay, and it wasn't fixed, but it was something. A starting point, maybe. I stayed most of that day. We ordered pizza for lunch. Nobody felt like cooking, and we watched movies with Emma, just trying to make things feel as normal as possible, even though nothing was normal anymore. Jake called around 3 to talk to Emma. Melissa handed her the phone and left the room, and I could hear Emma's side of the conversation. A lot of yeah, and okay, and I know. When she hung up, she looked at me and said, "Dad says he wants me to come stay with him next weekend at Uncle Marcus's house. He says they have a pool." "That sounds fun," I said, trying to sound encouraging. Yeah, she didn't sound excited about it. Around 5, I finally headed home. I hugged Melissa tight and whispered, "Call me anytime, day or night, I mean it." "Thank you," she whispered back, "for everything, for being here, for talking to Emma, for not judging." "Never," I said, "your family, always." The drive home was rough. I called my mom from the car, hands-free, don't worry, and told her what happened. She was shocked, obviously, kept asking if there was anything she could do. I told her maybe give them a few days before calling, let them process everything first. "How's Emma handling it?" she asked, and I could hear how worried she was. She's trying. She's a tough kid, but it's gonna be hard." "Poor baby," Mom said, on her birthday too. What was Jake thinking? I didn't have an answer for that. The next few weeks were weird, honestly. I checked in with Melissa almost every day, went over to visit Emma a couple times a week. Jake and I texted a bit, but it was awkward. I loved my brother, but I was also really angry at him for how he'd handled everything, especially the timing. Emma started seeming more like herself after a while. She'd spend weekends with Jake at Marcus's place. They did have a pool, and she seemed to enjoy swimming, but there was something different about her now, like she'd grown up overnight. She was more careful with what she said, more observant of the adults around her. It was like she was always watching, always trying to figure out if something bad was about to happen. Melissa started looking into lawyers and figuring out the divorce process. Because yeah, that's where this was heading. Jake had made that clear after a few weeks. He wasn't coming back. The separation was permanent. And me? I was just trying to be there for everyone. For Emma, for Melissa, even for Jake when he'd let me. It was exhausting and sad and complicated. But that's family, right? You show up, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. That birthday party with the bounce house and the princess castle cake and Emma's whispered secret, it feels like forever ago now, even though it's only been a few months. Life has this weird way of moving forward, whether you're ready or not. Emma's doing okay, all things considered. She's in therapy now, which Melissa says is helping. She still sleeps with Sparkles every night, and she still loves her birthday unicorn, even though it'll probably always remind her of the day her family changed forever. The other day, I took her out for ice cream, just the two of us. We were sitting in the park, eating our cones, and she said something that's been stuck in my head ever since. She said, "Auntie Sarah, Remember when I told you that secret at my party? Yeah, I remember. I'm glad I told you. It made it less scary, having someone else know. And I realized that's what we all need sometimes, you know? Someone to tell our secrets to. Someone who'll sit with us in the hard moments and not try to fix everything. Just be there while we figure it out. So yeah, that's the story of my niece's birthday party. The one where she whispered that her dad was leaving. The day that changed everything for all of us. It's not a happy story, exactly, but it's real. And sometimes that's all you can ask for.